Transfer itself is usually the easy part. The part nobody really sees happens afterward once USDT or TRX eventually reach an exchange. They're no longer just a balance sitting in a wallet. Their transaction history becomes part of the picture too, and that's where things can get complicated. Over the years, I've seen completely ordinary transfers end up going through extra review, delayed deposits, or additional verification. Not because the assets were fake. Sometimes it's simply because the transaction path looked suspicious to an automated scoring system. And that's the thing, those systems don't know the intention behind a transfer. They mostly evaluate patterns, how directly funds moved, how addresses relate to each other, whether the flow resembles activity they've already classified as higher risk. So a perfectly legitimate wallet-to-wallet transfer can sometimes receive more scrutiny than expected, even when nothing improper actually happened. That's why I started paying attention to platforms that focus on transaction structure instead of just transaction speed.
Execution flow is designed to reduce obvious address linkage and make transaction relationships less mechanically predictable. And that's an important difference. The goal isn't to hide funds, it's to avoid creating an unnecessarily simple transaction graph that automated systems can immediately compress into one assumption. Also, I like that it's non-custodial. Private keys stay inside the wallet. Control of crypto never leaves the wallet during the process. So from my perspective, it's a much cleaner balance. The blockchain stays transparent, ownership stays under direct control, and the transaction flow exposes less information than a basic wallet-to-wallet transfer would by default. For anyone moving funds regularly, that kind of design makes a lot more sense to me than broadcasting the most straightforward path every single time, especially when some exchanges may apply additional review based on how a transaction looks, not just where it came from.